Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My respected brothers, each of us would like to improve this world and improve ourselves. We cannot change the world overnight, but let us do what is within our capacity. A very easy sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that we can fulfill, not because I say it, but because we love Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Please move forward, fill in the gaps. Please start filling in from the front side. Jazakallah khairan. Allah reward you. Allah reward you and resurrect you in the company of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Bismillah wa bihi badina. ولو عبدنا غيره شكينا أحبنا ربك بدينا اللهم صل على محمد كل ما ذكر ذاكرون وصل على محمد كل ما غفل عن ذكره الغافلون. Allah says in the Quran that Allah narrates the stories of the previous Anbiya, Musa alayhi salam, Isa alayhi salam, etc., so that this can strengthen the heart of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If the heart of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is further strengthened and receives inspiration through the stories of the pious people of the past, how much more are we in need to acquaint ourselves and have knowledge that these were the beloved of Allah, be it the Anbiya, the Prophets alayhimus salam, be it the Sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, or the awliya, the pious saints that came after and are still in our midst. Alhamdulillah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam has mentioned that the greatest women ever, these include Asiya, the wife of Fir'aun, Maryam, the mother of Isa alayhi salam, Khadijah al-Kubra, the first wife of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and his beloved daughter Fatima, the leader of the women of Jannah. May Allah be pleased with them all. Ulama discuss that of these names that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given us, that which is the greatest woman in the history of Islam. And of course our mother Aisha radiallahu anha in a definite narration. Many ulama opine that our mother Aisha radiallahu anha is the most virtuous woman out of all the women ever in the history of mankind, and there is valid reason for this. 10 ayat alone were revealed that how pure our mother Aisha radiallahu anha is. Personally, I am inclined towards our mother Khadijah al-Kubra radiallahu anha, and I wish to speak a little bit about her life today with this intention that I've mentioned, that we can strengthen our hearts through knowing about these people, specifically Khadijah radiallahu anha, who was so close to Allah. It is in fact a very sad indictment on this ummah that we know so much about non-Muslim personalities these days, be it sports stars, movie stars, someone who kicks a ball. But the life of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the life of his beloved companions and wives, they are like strangers unto many of us, and we should work on trying to fix this ignorance of ours. Khadijah bint Khuwaylid al-Asadiyah. Khadijah, the daughter of Khuwaylid of the Asad clan of the Quraysh. Before Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, she had been married at least twice, and she was a widow from these marriages. But what shows her great distinction is that before Islam, the Quraysh treated women like property. And property does not own property. So when you become a widow, when your husband dies, you do not inherit a cent. It goes elsewhere, whatever the custom was. However, Khadijah radhiyallahu anha was such a strong personality, she did not take this nonsense from the Quraysh. When her husband died, she asserted her rights to her inheritance, and she kept her inheritance from her husbands twice. As a result of which, Khadijah radhiyallahu anha became, if not the richest, but at least one of the richest women in all of Makkah Mukarramah. And Allah knows best, but this might be Allah's system for what would come later. These two characteristics of our mother Khadijah radhiyallahu anha. One is a personality that she did not take abuse from the Quraysh, and the strength of hers would then be used as a strength for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the wealth of hers would also be used in the cause of Islam. So, like men everywhere, Quraysh men are attracted to physically attractive women, but more important than that was the other two characteristics that Khadijah radhiyallahu anha also had, is that she was from the Asad clan, a very prominent family amongst the Quraysh. The Quraysh really valued lineage. Asad clan includes famous Sahabi of the Ashra Mubashara, those 10 Sahaba who were given the glad tidings of Jannah. Zubair bin Awwam bin Khuwaylid, he is the nephew of Khadijah bint Khuwaylid. Allah be pleased with them all. And even in his personality, we see this seems to be a characteristic of the Asad clan, of firm, tough, no-nonsense people. Zubair radhiyallahu anhu, if nothing else we can mention else about him, is that he was still a little boy when news spread that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had been martyred at the hands of the Quraysh. Zubair radhiyallahu anhu, with a sword drawn, and as a little boy, comes bursting in the house of Khadijah radhiyallahu anha and verifies that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is still alive. They ask, "What are you doing?" And he said, "No, this is the rumor I heard." And they asked now, like, "So what's this with the sword? With a sword, what were you going to do?" And as a little boy, he says, "No, if it was true that they killed Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I was going to go and kill all the Quraysh." He was the first person to draw a sword in the cause of Islam. Till the day of Qiyamah, whoever lives in defense of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this deen, Zubair radhiyallahu anhu receives a share in that reward. So she was a prominent lineage, and she was extremely wealthy. These two characteristics alone made her receive many proposals from the chief of the Quraysh. She was a very desirable woman amongst the Quraysh because of these two characteristics alone. But she refused every proposal. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a poor goat herd with some business experience that he had learned from his uncle Abu Talib. Not yet in Nabi, not yet not yet receiving the first revelation at that stage. Hearing of his reputation, his good character, his business acumen, Khadijah radiallahu anha hired Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to engage in her business. She used to send goods to trade with in Syria, buying and selling. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam accepted this contract, working for Khadijah radiallahu anha under the supervision or accompaniment of a slave, Maysara. They go, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is of course absolutely honest, and despite not cheating anybody, the Prophet is much more than those people who would have cheated. The blessings of being honest. And Maysara reports back to Khadijah radiallahu anha that this is the kind of conduct, the kind of person that Khadijah, that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was capable of. She is very impressed. Now let's not look at it in terms of what we know, that Muhammad is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the greatest of Allah's creation ever. But in terms of those times and circumstances, she did not know this, the Quraysh did not know this. In their perspective, he's just a poor little trader, no real status amongst them in their way of thinking. And all the prominent chiefs wants to marry Khadijah, but she refuses that. She is more impressed. She does not look at him being poor. She does not look at him not having status. Khadijah radiallahu anha is impressed with the akhlaq of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she sends a proposal of marriage that she wants to marry this young poor man. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is 25 years of age. Khadijah radiallahu anha is 40 years of age at that time. Conversely, she is 15 years older than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is a young man. Would he not be, like any young man, more attracted to young girls of his similar age? But again, from the perspective of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he has interacted now with Khadijah and he knows what good qualities she has. In fact, even the Quraysh, her title was Tahira, the pure, clean lady. Such was her reputation in Makkah of her character. And the children that she had from her previous marriages, they and their descendants, they are known as the Banu Tahira, the descendants of the pure lady because of her character. So both of them, from a worldly perspective, Khadijah radiallahu anha, she shouldn't be impressed with this poor man. And from a worldly perspective, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam should not be impressed with this old lady. But their vision was beyond that. They were pure of heart and they were attracted to each other because of character. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam accepted this marriage proposal and they were married. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam lived in her home. It is the house of Khadijah radiallahu anha that is blessed, that this is the house of the abode of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam then for all those years to come. A house where Jibreel alayhi salam would come, where the Quran that we revealed, so many ayat, Allah knows best how many ayat were revealed in the blessed house of Khadijah radiallahu anha, and that she is honored to be the mother of all the children of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam except for Ibrahim, son of Maria. We honor Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as being Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but it is no negation of his status to remember that he was a human with human feelings. Without doubt, without doubt, if you just read the chapter of Khadijah radiallahu anha in Sahih of Imam Bukhari, it is the purest love story in the history of mankind. That love which was between Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and our mother Khadijah, it is unmatchable. Other filthy love stories which we are impressed with, which comes from Hollywood, nothing can compare between the pure and clean love Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam deeply, deeply loved Khadijah radiallahu anha, as proven from the hadith. Just consider for this fact that we know how many wives Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had. We can do this for our homework. Check up who were the wives, the names, the numbers of the wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Everything can't just come here from the minbar. But consider that during the lifetime of Khadijah radiallahu anha, that for the next 25 years or so, at least 20 years, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam remained married to Khadijah radiallahu anha alone. He never married another woman while Khadijah radiallahu anha was alive. That was his attachment to our mother Khadijah radiallahu anha. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam receives his first revelation. It's the first time he ever interacts with an angel. It is a dark cave. Jibreel alayhi salam presses him so hard, he reports that I thought that I would die. It was a terrifying experience for the first time. It's not something he knew about before. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is anxious. He does not know what the future holds, what this all fully means. He's never received the revelation before. He comes home and he calls out, Zammiluni, Zammiluni, cover me, cover me. And her mother Khadijah radiallahu anha is there to support him. She covers him and she gives him that words of comfort. It should be a lesson for us that no, definitely you are the Rasul of Allah. Definitely this is no lie. You are a person of excellent character. She does not point to the ibadah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this character. You are a person of excellent character. You look after the poor, you look after the orphans, you entertain guests, you keep ties with your relatives. Definitely Allah will not disgrace you. And she supports Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, becomes the first to believe in him. One is then emotional support, and what should also tell us so much about our mother Khadijah, her intellect, not just her heart, which is so pure and which she supports Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam with, but look at the intellect also. Her cousin Waraka bin Nawfal radiallahu anhu had become a Christian monk. He did not worship idols, and he was very knowledgeable about the religion of teachings of Musa alayhi salam, Isa alayhi salam. So she takes Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam to a cousin, and he confirms that no, this is the same angel that came to Musa alayhi salam. So emotional, at a critical junction, when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam so importantly needed that support, our mother was there. Allah chose our mother to give that emotional support and intellectual support, both from our mother Khadijah radiallahu anha. How much do we owe unto her? The Quraysh boycotted the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for 3 years, no food, eating leaves of the tree. And we can obviously not say for certain, there's no autopsy report of that time. But some say because of that, Khadijah radiallahu anha is an old lady now, already in the 60s, living off leaves of the trees. It is the end of that 3 years that Khadijah radiallahu anha leaves this world. And some say it must be because of that 3 years of starvation that the body gave in. She could not take it further. The boycott of the Quraysh had killed her. Furthermore, all the money had been spent on the cause of Islam. The richest woman in Makkah leaves this world with nothing. We might have heard that when Rasulullah ﷺ then makes the hijrah, it was Abu Bakr al-Anhu who provided the camels and the food for the hijrah, which is his virtue. But consider from another perspective that Rasulullah ﷺ was married to the richest woman. Why did he not have money for his own provisions? Of course, there was nothing left. Every cent of Khadijah had been spent on the cause of Islam. May Allah be pleased with her mother. And so much was the sorrow of Rasulullah ﷺ when he lost her. Rasulullah ﷺ called us Amul Huzn, the year of sorrow, and Allah consoled Rasulullah ﷺ through the Mi'raj. Our time is up. So let's conclude with one hadith. I mentioned this whole chapter of the virtues of our mother by Imam Bukhari. But just consider once that later, years later, Rasulullah ﷺ still used to speak about my Khadijah was like this, my Khadijah was like that, with love and affection. It is not disrespect, it's only natural to the way Allah has created us women specifically, that our mother Aisha Radana, she felt a bit naturally not happy with this, and she said that you continuously speak about this old Quraysh woman, whereas Allah gave you this young, beautiful, this young virgin girl, myself. Why do you keep on speaking about Khadijah, Khadijah, Khadijah? And Rasulullah ﷺ said, we do not like this reply. He said, when there was nobody to support me, and everybody called me a liar, and nobody believed in me, there was Khadijah alone who stood up and supported me. Do not speak badly about Khadijah. So there's so much more to speak, but our time is up. My appeal to the Ummah is, let us appreciate our mother Khadijah Radana, the Sahaba as a whole, and the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Study these figures. That's the only way we will really appreciate them. And through studying them, our own iman will increase. May Allah give us tawfiq, inshallah.